Hello?
Yeah, I've been trying to call you now.
Me too. I was trying to call you. I'm quickly updating the whole thing. Hello? Ron. Ron? We're live. Why are you off and everything? I was trying to sort out the whole um what you might call it. You know the whole things that we do now. Trying to get it to balance. Can you hear me? Because I can't hear you. Ron? Can I do this? Ron, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, I'm add him again. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? But I can't hear you. I'm trying to see what's happened. Your mic is okay. I don't know. It's from your end. It's from your end, though.
Yeah.
Anyways, whew, damn, I'm so tired. My body is aching like crazy. So, welcome to the Mongol Cooling Show, everyone. Yes, we're trying to get everything sorted and get the show on the road for you. And I'm sure you've noticed we're now on Twitter. So right now we're going live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Yes. And I don't know, Ron. Can you? What's going on with your volume? Anything? I can see your mouth moving, but I can't hear. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, I had college my dressmaking class today, so that's different from the normal performance, whatever that I have like tomorrow and Friday. And I'll tell you, then I had to go into town to go and sort out some things. I had to go get more
Yeah.
uniforms because hey, okay, you talk for a moment and then you stop talking. Hello?
I'm here.
Yay! Rev is here. So like exhausted. Then I'm sure you guys have heard we have fuel scarcity in the UK. So people are losing their minds. Like, yay, the traffic everywhere. Traffic. I was like, am I in Lagos? Because it was ridiculous. Like from Bolton to my house is 12 minutes. 1 hour. I was still on the road. 1 hour. In fact, when I finally got home, I just told the taxi guy, he carried all my things, quickly took it to the door because always helped me to carry my things to the door, anyways, and everything. I was like, he was like, I'm going home to go and sleep. I said, I don't blame you because it was ridiculous. How did we turn to people stealing petrol from cars, people fighting at the traffic, at the petrol station, everything like when did we become like that? When that we love queues and everything, people doing gidigbo with each other because of fuel. Not be smart. So yeah, that was an interesting day. Then of course Anthony Joshua. Anybody that wants to laugh him, but he's coming back. But the thing is that of course there's always up, there's down. So I'm not surprised. But I don't see any reason why anybody should be laughing at him or whatever. I mean, even Muhammad Ali. Did Muhammad Ali ever get beaten or he just retired? I think he just retired or he got beaten once. Ron,
Yeah. Yeah. Why is the echo? Check your system.
there's nothing wrong with my system. It's from your end. There's no echo here.
Oh, okay. Uh, what can I say?
Was it
Muhammad Ali
beaten?
was beaten. Yeah, a couple of
It
times.
was beaten. Oh, a couple of hair. So and he's like the greatest. So I don't see why people are laughing at Anthony Joshua and saying, "Oh, no, look, up down. That's life. That's what life is about." So what else? I'm trying to remember everything that's happened. Oh, sorry, I've not eaten, so my stomach is doing me giddy like, hey, woman, now you're coming to come and do show. And there's a yam with palm oil soaking. I've already soaked the yam inside the palm oil, waiting for me to come on. Let me tell you a funny thing. After the show, right, most of the time we sit down and have the after party, yeah? And I end up eating fufu. But tonight I'm not eating fufu, I'm eating yam. So yeah, so dressmaking was nice. I saw an old friend. It was so nice to see her. She's so helpful, so it was so nice to see her. And then of course went to town, then had to fight through traffic, everything. And I had to go and get more clothes for my my performance art class, because it's raining non-stop right now in Bolton, and we've been told that it's going to rain for the next 2 weeks. So we should just expect rain. That on Wednesday is not going to be so bad, which is tomorrow. So they're saying tomorrow is not going to be so bad, but after that it's going to be downpour all through. So I got contacted by the by the college and told you need to wear something warmer because of my health and everything. So I've gotten that. So, what are we talking about today?
Yeah,
Ron?
we're talking Nollywood versus Hollywood.
Well, before you go into what we're talking about, tell us about your day. How's your day?
Well, uh, well, will I say uneventful, but it was okay. Mm, just
I'm not
usual
hunger.
routine.
Hunger
Just the
is
usual routine, you know. So that's just it. But everything, all that thing was fine. It's
that's
fine.
nice. That's nice.
Nice weather, nice. Everything was just fine.
While we were being pummeled with rain here, my poor hair has become tanwiji yum yum because of rain and everything. But it's okay, Sha. It is well. So
Well, it happens
okay,
sometimes. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
yes,
Can you hear me? Okay.
yes.
All right. That's you can go
You didn't
ahead. I'm
play
listening.
there. You didn't play there is God though today. No, I'm
Huh?
saying okay. So you said your day was uneventful. So tell us why we are talking about Nollywood versus Hollywood, and also some good news that we've got to share. Go on, go on. Child, there is God.
You wanted to hear?
I mean, as myself, I join you. They do this something now.
Oh my goodness. Well, about the topic.
Yes, talk about the topic and also the good news that we've got to share with everyone.
What good news?
Ah, about the
It's for next
show
week.
next
It's for
week.
next. Oh,
And
uh,
as we telling people, we are telling them so that they can come and join now.
okay. Your brother is
And
already
we have
pending.
a first timer, my countryman. A round of applause.
Good evening.
Good evening, my fellow Badagry man. Unfortunately, I don't have to speak the language. How do you say welcome?
We are in the same boat.
Oh my God.
You
It's
know,
so
he's not.
sad that
You know, he's not a professor in music now. It's no more like
hey,
the last time.
Prof,
Eth-
Prof,
Ethnomusicology.
Prof.
I
I
Ah,
don't even know
forgot
what
to
to say.
Prof,
say.
respect though.
I'm
Mm.
I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you. I know I was
He
supposed
didn't
to tell
tell
you.
me. He did not tell
I know.
me. He did not.
I just
No,
forgot
I'm not
again.
a professor. I'm a doctor of ethnomusicology.
Hey,
So,
did you
So
see the gentle way he said? You see, we Badagry people, we are cool. We are forever cool. Forever cool. You're so welcome. It's so nice to see you, my brother. And truly, you're my
thank
brother
you very
because we're from the
much.
same place. So he's
Yeah.
telling us, Ron is telling us about why we're doing the show, and then we'll go into it. So just let him finish that.
oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, I was thinking that today, as usual, We'll call. I don't think this topic can be covered fully today because it's very
No,
huge, very
no,
very
because
huge.
the feedback we have been getting
Fact,
today
my
about the
my
show,
messenger is filled up, like really, really filled up. So I just
the
thought that the wisest thing to do is let's come from. In fact, let's break them down. Let's come from the background music side. Then we'll walk away up until acting, production, post
so
production,
we'll
and all
do music side today. Then next week we're going to do film because we are having some film people coming to join us next week.
week.
Do you want to
So at
tell?
the end of the show, I'll just say it. I
Okay,
won't say
end of the show. I'm
it.
so excited. But
Me
I'm telling
too.
you, the feedback we have been getting, and from real thespians, people who are actually in the industry, who this is what they do. I'm telling you, it's like they've been waiting for somebody to say, "Oh yeah, let's talk about it." It's been ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Now, Ron, I just want to speak to my countryman for a moment. So, Doc. So, of course, I'm going to be calling you Doc. So, Doc, I mean, you went to South Africa to go and do music. And in your
Hmm.
experience with the whole musical scene, and of course, you're learning music, you're learning about music, but you're also bringing your own influences about music also into the whole
Hmm.
mix. And then, of
Hmm.
course, you're seeing South African music, you're seeing contemporary music. I've played some of your music on our show, The Happy Place with Abby. And, the feedback has been, oh, it's a bit jazzy and this and that. And not everyone sort of got together with it. So,
Hmm.
looking at your experience in the music field, what would you say is the hope and the future of music right now? When we say Nigerian music, when we say African music.
Yeah, I think music is just a very
Of progress. They
little.
want to hook my countryman.
Wait, sorry. Before we go on, I was supposed to play the clip. I got carried away. Hello,
Which
Abby,
clip?
are you there? Abby, are you
Yes,
there?
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I am here.
Okay, so
I am
let me
here.
just quickly play a clip of one of his recent works. Then very
Okay,
short clip.
okay. So just hold on
Then
while he quickly plays that.
okay,
Wow. Check that
you see that
out.
that's what
That
happens
is
when you combine
so
education
good.
with African. culture. That's
Thank
the
you very
product of
much.
research.
I'm sorry. I don't know whether you got it, but I was getting a little bit of Orlando Owo.
uh, well, it's just home. That music basically is, West Africa. It could be Yoruba, it could be Badagry, Ogu music, it could be a bit of Afrobeat, it could be a bit of high life. So basically, you embody all your experience, like the totality of your experience is what you embody, and it comes through your music. So yeah, so if you say you could hear a bit of Orlando, it's possible. It's very,
Okay.
very.
So going back to my question about your bringing in your experiences of music into your study and then looking at the environment right now with music. I mean, it's like, especially music from Nigeria, it's like the world has really sat up and been like, whoa, okay, something is coming out of Nigeria. Virtually every Western artist wants to do something with an artist in Nigeria. And yet there's this sense of, well, are these songs really talking about our own story, or are they just mimicking the American? It's like there's a, because like when Burna Boy won the Grammys, everyone said Burna Boy wrote that album for the Grammys. He wrote the entire album because he wanted to win the Grammys. He did not write it for Nigerians because that album did not actually make it big in Nigeria until after Burna Boy won the Grammys. That's when people started to like, okay, let's listen to it. Unlike Davido, all Davido has to do is sneeze and Nigeria just catches fire. So
Hmm.
what are your views on that in your own experience?
Yeah, I'd say that all that we are seeing is quite commendable in that individuals have been pushing their own music, people are coming up. You know how it is in Nigeria. Like, the government is not really doing much, sorry to say. The government is not really giving people the platform to, like, like, there are countries that have sponsorships, and like, there are policies regarding arts and culture, but we don't really have much of that in Nigeria. So much of what we see on the international scene, they are individual efforts, and you see that these individual efforts are quite commendable, in that, like, these people, I refer to them, whether musicians, whether people in Nollywood, whatever, arts. For me, they are cultural entrepreneurs, because it's almost like they're doing exactly what an entrepreneur would do. Come up with business idea, then see the way to package it and sell it. Basically, that's what they are doing, and that is really commendable, to the point that today, all of those efforts, all of those individual efforts, they have actually achieved so much for the image of Nigeria. For instance, in a place like South Africa today, you hear people dancing to Nigerian music, and sometimes, because of Nollywood, some people will hear, "Are you from Nigeria?" and they want to speak pidgin to you. So it means that there is an influence. Like, this individual, this individual efforts they are gaining, they are creating an image for Nigeria, whether good or bad. Some people look at you and they're like, is every old person in Nigeria a witch? Every old woman? That's to tell you that all of this effort, whether we are conscious of it or not, they are creating an image for Nigeria. And in this day and age, what governments do is they brand themselves. You think of Japan, you think of cars. You think of Germany, you also think of cars. You think of Japan, you're thinking of even cameras. So the thing is, what is that one thing that the government is doing to create, like, a solid image? They, in technical terms, people call it soft power. These days, it's no longer about guns. It's more about influence. How well are you, like, when you talk about foreign policies today, it's not about, like, there is that extreme where people go to war, but that's no longer fashionable. The use of force is no longer fashionable. Like, people now do a lot more influencing, a lot more influencing, and that is something that one individual cannot do. For instance, you look at Hollywood. We are talking about Hollywood today. You find that there are so many movies that are sponsored by the state. An example is Ground. You know that there was actually an art exhibition about Ground Zero from 9/11. You know that there was, this Ground Zero that was unaffected and all of that. The government's pumped in so much resources into exhibition, and it moved around the world. And basically, that is what when we talk about foreign policies today, that is what the government should be thinking about. Now we have individuals who are doing amazingly well in terms of music, and we have individuals who are doing amazingly well in terms of movie. All you just need to do is to support these people, because already they've shown themselves to be cultural ambassadors. They are ambassadors. So all we just need to do as a nation is to leverage on that, because today people, you know that, okay, for instance, you have countries like France, you have countries like Germany, that they have Germany has Goethe Institute in different countries.
Yes,
to sort of
the Goethe Institute.
push
Yeah,
the image of the country. The same thing with France. You have Alliance Française everywhere.
everywhere. Yeah, I went
Advocate,
to
like,
Alliance
they're
Française.
advocating the interest. You see, they are advocating the interests of the country.
And for us, Nollywood is a very, like, it's something that's already in existence. The government doesn't need to think about anything new. It's just for them to leverage on what Nollywood is doing. There is hardly anybody who is tech savvy today in Africa who doesn't know Nollywood. It means that you
Oh
have
yes.
access to millions of people. Not, I'm even talking, let's even talk about Africa first before we now talk about the other parts of the world. With Nollywood, you have access to millions of people. And the question is, what are we doing with that access? We are able to influence people. So, what are we doing with that opportunity that we have? So, how are we branding Nigeria? Like this image of Nigeria as every Nigerian is seen as a fraudster. Every Nigerian is a potential, like it's potentially suspicious. I feel like we are not doing enough to brand ourselves. We are not doing enough to brand. And this is not about individuals anymore. The individuals have shown themselves to say, okay, I am an ambassador. I am someone that can be supported. But the government is not leveraging on that. So
Could it
that's
be because sorry to break it out, I just want to throw in a question in the mix of what you're saying. So, like when we look at a lot of films in Hollywood, actually, in fact, I found that a lot of American films are actually being sponsored by Canada. The state of Canada actually sponsors a lot of American films. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense, but well, because I'm one of those people who, when I'm watching a film, I watch it to the very end, like the credits. I see all the people involved in the lightning, everything, because I'm always trying to watch out for a Nigerian name, because I always believe that there's always a Nigerian in every film somewhere in the world. So I always watch it to the very end, and I see a lot of sponsorship like that. And the thing is, you're very, very correct about some of the images that we have continued to perpetuate about ourselves in our music, in our, like, I have, white colleagues who listen to African music, and they're like, why is it that virtually every song is about a woman's bum and how she can drop it and how she can shake it and how men can sleep with her and everything? And is like that's a continuous rhetoric in music. Go and listen, even the so-called love songs will still have, I go do you long time, I go show you Mr. Whatever, I get cassava, where my cassava is like, really, like, like a real love song that just says, like, okay, why is All of Me, John Legend's All of Me, why is it like one of the biggest love songs ever? Because it was talking about things of the heart, things that were not physical. Even like it was like all your curves, your edges, your perfect imperfections, all the things that he was talking about. These are not physical, the physical, "Oh, your waist, oh, shake it like your waist." And it's like in music, we have a kind of image that we project. In film, we have a kind of image that we project. And it's sometimes it's like, when are we going to realize that the world is looking at us this way? Tell the average person who is not Nigerian about a Nigerian guy like you. Say, I beg you, does the woman have a big bakasi? Because that's what Nigerian men like. You understand what I'm saying? It's that constant rhetoric. So how do we move that in the whole ambassadorship that we are talking about being that brand?
Abby, how did you
Let me.
sorry,
Okay,
Sorry.
you want to.
Abby, how did you conveniently omit Naira Marley, your biggest star? Wait, how did
leave
you were talking,
leave
you
my
managed
naira alone for me, oh, we will fight. Hey, brother, what is your friends? There's some people you should just not touch. The day I told him that I love Naira Marley, he almost died. He was like, "What?"
the,
But the
the
funny
funny
thing is,
thing is, I
Yeah,
don't
okay,
know
go on.
those. I don't know their music. Like I,
Okay.
you
Now,
know,
you see,
when
the
people
reason
hear
why
that,
I like Naira
you
Marley
are
is
into
not his
music, they
music. Oh.
expect you to know everything.
Then, okay, me and you need to talk because I need to introduce you to some kind of music that you'll be like,
God forbid.
no, no.
God
You'll be
forbid.
like, no, no.
Okay, sorry, Dr. Kuniji, before you chip in, I just wanted to add something to what you said. Like, even what he said about government sponsorship is very, very true. And that's something I expected that by now we should have taken advantage of. And I will tell you why. Some of the movies that this guy that produced Wedding Planning, the one that had Banky and his wife,
The wedding party.
yeah, the Wedding Party one too.
Kemi
If you watch it,
Adetiba.
no, it's not Kemi Adetiba, it's this guy, Onuzo, something Onuzo. I've forgotten his first name, but I know
Wedding
it's Onuzo.
party.
Yeah, it's Ink Blot production. It's by Onuzo. I followed it. Now, what I noticed about that movie, even though it was a Nigerian movie, when you watch it to the end, you find that it was sponsored by the South African Department of Industry or something like that, tourism and industry or something of that nature. That's if you watch this credits to the end, and I'm like, why did they have to take these people to come and do to sponsor this kind of big movie? Why did they get sponsorship from Nigeria? And the reason why I thought that deeply was that even in the USA, everything you know and think about the US is as a result of what the government has programmed through the arts. Any movie you watch, we've not been to America. Some of us have not been to America. A lot have been, but for those who haven't been, the little we know is from what we see in the media, the movies, the music, the
That's
art.
why we
The
land in America and we're all going, man, man, man.
So a lot of what we know is from watching this American movies and all that. I'll give you a very typical example. Today we are battling terrorism back home, and I can see that the thing is going out of control, or I don't know. In America, in the 70s, at least I was watching Rambo First Blood, Sylvester Stallone, Rambo. Now, a lot of us who watched that movie, who saw that movie, were enjoying the entertainment, the shooting, the shouting, the blah 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 blah. Oh, that was not the underlining reason why that movie was made. That was not the subliminal reason why that movie was made. The reason being that they went to Vietnam War, and it was an unpopular war, and Americans didn't like that war. So when soldiers couldn't win the war against the Vietnam because of their tactic, they started killing babies and women. And American press, the American media were projecting these gory images back to America. So when the war was over and those soldiers were coming back home, the Americans who went to the airport pretending that they went to welcome the soldiers, they started stoning, spitting at them, and throwing
Attacking them.
stuff at them to show that they denounced their military and all that. You know, they were trying to run them down. So from that late 60s, early 70s to 80s, being a veteran was like a curse in America. You were not respected. They didn't care about you. They just see you as a mass murderer and all that. Until they decided, okay, let's start these movies like Delta Force, Rambo. Now, in that Rambo movie, all the actions, it was in part two that they explained why that movie was made, because the commander was asking me that, okay, now we've defeated the enemy, let's go back home and go and celebrate. He said he's not going back. And he told him that, Rambo, that do you still hate your country because of all they did to you at the airport? He said no, that he doesn't hate his country, that he would die for his country anytime. But he wants his people to love him the same measure he loves his country and willing to die and sacrifice his life for that country. And you know, people who went to the movies around 81, 82, 80, even 85 and saw that it was just that scene, and that scene was at the end of the movie. That
Mm.
scene alone captured the heart of all Americans who went to watch it. So from that day, their attitude towards veterans and soldiers significantly changed. And that's where the term hero started coming in. When you come to a talk show, you said, "Oh, I'm an American vet, or I'm an American soldier." They just say, "Oh, we thank you for we
Thank you for
salute
your
you for
service.
your service." That's where that term came from because they had to use the media to reset the people's brains and let them understand that these people did not just go to war for themselves, they were sent. Now, this is what I expected in Nigeria. A time like this is when that thing should really work because as I speak with you, they kill soldiers, maybe by their tens and numbers. I think by now, okay, granted, I heard the Nigerian Army has released one movie and the Air Force has released another. But it shouldn't be government controlled to me. I don't know how others see it. It shouldn't be government. Get the script writers, the producer, let them come. If they need army support,
Yeah.
you give them. If they need police support, you give them. Control it,
Yeah.
uniform distribution, arms, and distribute, hardware.
All that
Control the
stuff.
hardware and recruitment there. Make sure that they are dressed properly, they wear the right signals, everything should be perfect.
Mhm.
Then allow them do their thing. I think that's how I feel about this whole thing. The government should look into this. There's a lot to benefit from
Yeah.
supporting the media. That's my submission.
No, but
I think
they're only interested in banning. Ban, ban, ban.
Everything has
no,
everything has a crawling step
Ron,
now.
you're so much on point. Like there are people who are the faces of Nollywood. So the way that the government will come in, it will be so subtle that people won't even notice. Let it still be the same faces that we see every day. Because the truth is, these individuals have huge following. There are
True.
people that if they see that this person, if RMD is in this movie, there is a certain number of people that will want to see that movie because
Of course.
personally they
Joke Silva,
connect
Olu
with
Jacobs.
RMD.
I mean,
Yes. So you can't go and bring one face that is unknown and say that you want to you want to do something, you want to pass across a certain message. It won't work. And you know the funny thing, like in Cape Town, we all know the picture of Cape Town that is projected. You come to Cape Town, the first thing is they show you the Table Mountain and the oceans. They show you all the beautiful places, the wine farms and all that. You want to come to Cape Town. Cape Town is one of the major tourist destination in the world. But to my surprise, recently, like during this lockdown, I had a recording somewhere in Mitchell's Plain, and Google Maps just took me somewhere else.
Sorry,
When I
sorry, Dr. Joe. We need to introduce somebody else.
PK! When we are talking veteran student, that is that one. He's the grandpappy of the
you're
student.
welcome.
Thank you. Don't mind them. They're always this is how they are. That's the problem I have in life.
So what I
It's
was
even
saying is,
Sorry, it's even good that you are here. Please, this is my husband, but he
Hey.
likes to misbehave. though.
Hey.
That's my husband right there.
How do they talk Akuba for English, I beg?
This is my brother from Badagry. This is my family man.
How do
So
they
you
talk,
better go and talk to him and go and give him
how
the
do they
bride
talk-
price.
how do they talk Akuba for English? Because
From Badagry. This is my family.
I don't invite my girlfriend, make she come work for Facebook. You come to talk this kind of thing so that she go see her. You are a home wrecker.
Which home am I wrecking? My own home.
You want to wreck my girlfriend's home.
Which girlfriend? Which girlfriend's home? Oh my days. Oh yeah, sorry, doctor. Continue, Jare. Don't mind him.
Yeah, don't be.
Yeah,
So these people are not very serious people. You now came on their show. I'm sorry for you. Welcome.
Speak for yourself.
You see how person will invite you to come talk better thing. He come, he did now man, he chase there.
God, I'm so bad. I am so bad.
Okay, Dr.
Okay.
I was saying that there is a certain image of Cape Town that is projected. and we have all embraced that image. But recently I was going for a studio recording, and I found myself in this really hectic, like the heart of one township, and I was so scared. I didn't believe that kind of a place exists in Cape Town. But the thing is, you won't see those kind of things. But it's as if in Nigeria, it's as if we just allow people tell our stories, and
Mm.
obviously it's whatever they like, they push out there. Even some of the people who are you were talking about the fact that many musicians sing about the physical, like the
Mm-hmm.
body. They've sexualized women and all of that. For me, it's not their fault. They are looking for what to eat. But
Abi?
we should, like, the government should be the one to step into it and then control the narrative. Like advocates. And then, do you know that as simple as just organizing competitions can change things
Yes.
significantly? Like you find, okay, now one way, do you know that one little way, one simple way that you can make young people start searching indigenous music and playing indigenous music, and like
Ah.
this one is working on akpala and all of that, you just create a competition, say that the winner gets a recording, blah blah blah, they get this x amount, and you need people to come and play this style of music. Give it 10 years,
Mm.
you will be amazed at the number of bands that will emerge.
That's true.
And
That
one
is
thing
true.
that thing will do is that it will also increase the level. Like, people will be creative because you want to win. People will come up with ideas. People will, they will come up with all kinds. Just one thing. We are still talking about one thing. Just introduce competitions at high school level, for instance. Look at the number of people who have emerged from, say, Project Fame, for instance. At least, even if you
That's
don't know
true.
anyone else, you know Timi Dakolo.
Yeah.
Of course. We know
So we should
Ayolola. We know Busola.
imagine
What's
that.
her name?
Imagine that there is a state organized competition among all the local governments throughout the arts and sports. Imagine that regularly the state is organizing football competition between Agege, Ikorodu, and all of those one. Then the same thing happens with music. The same thing happens with theater. The same thing happens, and then you give them themes. The winner, like, you give them themes to work on. Okay, you give them a title, create a performance around this title, and at the end of the day, you sponsor the winning team to maybe record it professionally. You get experts from different parts of the world. Do you know that, given within a decade, you will be amazed
Mm.
at what we'll be producing. You will be amazed. And like, one of the things that opened my eyes to this kind of thing is this Cape Town. When I came here, I was really impressed at the level. Like, you see high school kids, everybody, like, they play jazz at a very high level. And I was like, how were you able to achieve this? Fortunately, I was taught by the first person that was hired at the University of Cape Town. Himself and some of the people that he brought into the system, they were saying that when they came in the 1980s, when they came to Cape Town, there was no jazz scene, at
Mm.
least not as vibrant as what we know today. But from that school, they hired one person, and the person hired other people. Like, he brought in his colleagues from the States. He had studied in the States. And from there, competitions, jam sessions, and all of this. And today, as far as I'm concerned, Cape Town is the headquarters of arts in Africa. Because
I
when
didn't know.
those people, people who went through that school, when they graduate, what happens is they look for jobs. Some of them will go and teach. Some of them will go and teach in high schools. So that way you are spreading it down. Some people are teaching in high school, some people are teaching in various, communities and all of those things. The long-term effect of that is that you are starting, it's a move. You're creating something that is massive, something that is bigger than you can imagine. And those kind of things, like schools, then competitions, and like all of those, they would go a long way in helping the country or the government, in helping the government to tell its story the way it wants it to be told. Everyone is just
Yeah.
listening. Everyone takes whatever they hear. It's whatever they see. Like we spoke about the fact that so many people see you and they're like, is every woman in Nigeria a witch? That's what Nollywood has sold to them.
Or
And you
is
can't
every
blame
young
them.
lady who looks good materialistic? Are we all like looking for
Yes,
some small god big girl kind of situation? Are we all looking for sugar daddies or honey daddies or low fat daddies? It's like that's the
that's
constant narrative. Even with the music, going back to
that's
what you said about the
Nollywood.
music,
That's Nollywood for you.
I
Everybody
don't
still
even
want to
mind.
speak pidgin English. And
I don't
these
even
are things
mind
that we can market.
anyone. Sorry, I don't even mind anyone saying, oh, like a Davido who sings about, oh, Chioma, my lover, whatever, whatever, or Naira Marley who sings about, Komajensu, that kind of thing, or whatever it is. I actually do not mind. I actually don't mind if, like that kind of music comes one on the fringe, that becomes fringe music instead of it being the main music that we are known for. Yes, we are popping in the clubs. Go to any club in the world. Once they start to play Nigerian music, everywhere people lose their mind, they start to dance, because they love the whole vibe of it and all that stuff. However, the messages that are being passed on, Dr. Bentomology released an album recently, and I'm telling you, the music was fantastic. Did anybody hear about it? Just the people that knew him heard about it, that went to the launch and everything. Amazing music, music that teaches morals, stories. Those kind of stories, those kind of songs that were stories that used to be like alo, that you sing and you get a call and response and that kind of thing. Those kind of songs, we don't have them anymore. When you are even saying you're telling story time to your children, you're telling your children alo, they'll be looking at you like, huh? What are you talking about? Because many of them, they don't do alo anymore. They don't do call and response anymore. Those traditions, those beautiful traditions are being thrown away for komajensu, gbese, whatever, all those that's what's happening. And that's what's frightening about music and art for me, for the coming generation. That what are we leaving for them to have as their culture? Because we talk about the UK not having a culture. The average black person will tell you, oh, UK don't have a culture because they've given away everything. Everybody's culture is their culture now. They don't have a culture of their own. But it's happening to Nigeria right now because we're so westernized in our thinking. We're westernized in our music. We're westernized in our films. We're westernized in everything. Rarely would you find if a film, even the one film, there was a film that was done recently. Oh yeah, King of Boys, that was done in a lot of traditional language and all of that, but it still had a lot of Western influences. And then the story that was even then passed in that film was also frightening because it wasn't about, oh, the goodness of people and all that stuff. It's about corruption. It's about what people would do for power. Is about, all that stuff. But these are the stories that we keep telling. And honestly, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed King of Boys. I enjoyed it, but I it frightened me. And those are the things that give me cause for concern. You know. So before you continue, Candy, we have Miss Candy. A round of applause for Candy. She's one of our top panelists. She's always here. We're always having a great time. So Candy, I know that you're always because Candy lives in America. She's always asking what's this, but she's into Nigerian films. At least I've heard her talk about a few Nigerian films. Bumi Teller has said she's coming on. She's actually sent me a message. I'm hoping to see her soon.
Oh yeah,
Kayode,
Bumi's
when she
coming on.
comes here, be yourself. Okay. Sorry, what did
I said, yeah, Bumi's coming on.
yeah.
Yeah, so okay,
Let me go and roll powder.
I
I'm coming.
recently just the thing was when my mom was here when I had Lincoln that I really started getting into Nigerian movies because she was watching them. So I was here with her watching them. So that's I mean, so I would say I've watched more the newer Nigerian films. I don't really know the old ones, but yeah. So I'm because of Netflix now.
Candy,
because of
Candy,
Netflix,
sorry, Candy,
sorry,
Candy,
being able to see
Candy,
more.
1 minute.
Boomy!
Candy,
I'm so sorry, guys. I thought it was
Bumi deserves this salute, like really.
so sorry.
Can you hear what they are playing for you?
Bumi, we're giving you a general salute.
Did you hear that Kayode went to rub powder because of you?
No, you're looking fine. I appreciate.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry,
Carry on.
Jare, Candy, don't ignore these men and their hormones. Candy, please continue.
Well, it's Boomy, so I'm not surprised.
Exactly, I'm not surprised at all. It has that effect on the boys.
Yeah.
Candy's used to us by now.
But anyways, so I was saying, so in terms of, so I know the newer Nigerian films, and with Netflix and a lot now being on Netflix, I'm even more getting into it. But music, I have no clue with Nigerian music. I don't know. I really, I mean, music, I have no contribution whatsoever. I don't, I don't really know.
Well, we actually, because we found out that the topic is so big, we couldn't do it all in one night.
Yeah.
And we actually have some film bigwigs that are intending to join us
Oh, cool.
to talk about this next week. So
Oh.
very excited about that. We're going to be announcing. I'm so excited, but I've told Ron he can announce it. So I'm very excited about that.
But I
I'll
will
announce
say
it
one,
Tuesday.
I will say one thing though, because I know I didn't come in from the beginning when it came, but when I came in, you were talking about, for example, like the message of King of Boys and some of the messages in the music. My take on it is that this is from my perspective. I don't watch or listen to music to get moral whatever. Like this is not where I get my values and my morality and all this stuff for. So I think like I said, this is for me personally. I enjoy, like I said, I enjoyed King of Boys. I loved how this woman had all this, like, she had all this power, and even though it's not the kind of power I would want to have, but it was nice. It was, for me, it was refreshing to see a woman like kicking ass like that, getting shit done. But for me, I mean, even not just in Nigerian music. I mean, look at like the rap music, the American music, and what we see on TV. Also, it's like, I think these are things. I think people, for me, I try to set my own like moral standards, and what entertainment is entertainment. I don't get my values from that. I don't let that, but that's just me. That's just what I wanted to say.
I completely understand what you're saying. However, the reason why I was saying that is because Nigeria as a cultural entity, it has such a rich and diverse cultural, artistic presence. And it's like all of those things, which is what we grew up on, which is what our parents grew up on, have been thrown away completely. and is now all this whole music about a woman's body, how her body is, what she can do with her body, what you want to do to her body, blah 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 blah. And all those songs, like even when you see, like, is it Joromi, Jomi, Jo, na 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 na, those kind of musical styles, they're hardly there. When you're looking at music, like if you see Mami Wata, oh, those, like they told a story, but they were really good music. We don't have anything like that anymore now. It's better, and all these songs that we have now, these are like songs that were like really good music, and it's like, do we have to throw away all of that because we
No.
are moving forward?
In fact, I think one of the points I was also
Australia is very big on Aboriginal arts, music, everything is very big on it, so they recognize what their brand is, and that's what they're capitalizing on. Why can't we capitalize on what is ours? Why are we so keen to be Western?
So are you? But are you
take on?
Are you saying though that there are people who are not still doing that kind of music though? Like I said, I don't know Nigerian music like that, so
it's very rare, Candy. Very rare. I mean, I haven't heard music like Christy Igbo Quiz in forever. I haven't heard since she died. That was it. It died with her. Onyeka Owenu has stopped really singing, so again, not heard anything much. People like King Sonia, they are like still pushing through and doing their music and everything, but he's not really doing any new music. He's just sticking to the oldies. Ebenezer Obey has become a pastor, so he's not really singing his old songs anymore. He's singing Christian music now. So again, it's like a lot of this beautiful, amazing music. They just like, if you have the vinyl, then you are lucky. But there's some of the songs that even some people in my generation, in our generation, will be like, oh my God, I've even forgotten about that song. I can't remember last time I heard any music like that. And it's just sad. I think it's sad.
Sorry, can I okay.
Let's Bumi, let Dr. Kunuji then you speak after him, please.
No problem.
Yeah, okay.
Oh. Okay, so I was just going to say that the painful part for me is that people don't realize that we are in a war, and the war is about dominance. Like everyone is pushing their own culture, everyone is pushing their own thing. And I said this earlier on, that this individual efforts, they are amazing. At least they got us to a point. People now acknowledge Nigeria. People acknowledge, people know that there is a pidgin English. People know Nollywood. But, like, while I'm not, like, change is something that we cannot stop. Like, change will always happen. So I'm not really against the fact that, okay, people are no longer playing this type of music. But the question is, who is this music benefiting? And for me, Nigerian government is sleeping in that regard. Like, we are not really pushing things that will benefit us, things that will make people come to us to buy things. This thing is as simple as buying and selling. The question is, what are we selling? Like, if what we're doing now is hip hop and we're dressed like Americans, young people start buying big jeans and the money is not retained in our economy. And like some of us know, Nigerians are really crazy about imported things. So when you push those things, when you push jeans and you push all of those things, which of course they are not bad, but the thing is, people stop patronizing those local tailors. People stop going to like all of those. I just use that as an example. Of course, we know that Nigeria has a vibrant Owambe industry where, like, that employs so many people. tailors and the likes. But the point I'm trying to make is that the government should be doing more in controlling the narrative to the advantage of the country. We should be doing more in terms of like sponsoring movies, sponsoring things that will push our ideologies. Like I was saying, this day and age, it's no longer sufficient for you to have high commission in one country. People are not doing that anymore. Now it's about social media. Now you see that governments have social media accounts. And recently I was writing an article and I got curious. I went to see the Nigerian government, the federal government Instagram account or something. And I saw that you find individuals who have way more following compared to the government. And the idea is not for the government to compete, but the idea is for the government to identify those people who are already ambassadors. I mentioned it earlier on. Those people have shown themselves to be ambassadors. Like, this is what I do, and I have a great following. So all we just need to do is to leverage on that and say, okay, you know what? We want you to act. We want you to have a movie on this theme. We'll get you all that you need and use it to control, so that when people see that movie, why is it that today people started going to Kenya? People saw, was it Kinta Kinte or something, like a movie? There was Roots. There was a movie that people saw, and then people became, I think that was Senegal or something. Then people became curious about that part of
The
Africa.
Gambia.
Yeah,
The Gambia.
Gambia. Like, people would see a movie and then it would spark something. They'll be like, no, my next destination is this place. The same thing. I can cite several examples where one movie has been used to control the narrative, and people are like, no, I want to do this, I want to go. And you see that happening, and you see that like the tourism industry will blow up. Like, it will be massive. And Nigeria has so many heritage sites. For instance, I come from Badagry, the place where the slaves were taken. Like, we have point of no return in Badagry. We have that. Ghana also has it. But can you see how the government of Ghana has used that thing to their advantage? Way more
Yeah, exactly.
than the
Inviting
government of
people back
Nigeria
from
has done.
America to come. Aye,
More
God.
people are saying Ghana is the place of return, or what do they call it?
Yeah, the
Door
place
of
of
no, they
return.
do something. There was a year of return.
Mm.
It got so big that even at that time, I saw an opportunity, and I was applying to go lecture at the University of Ghana, but things changed. So I went somewhere else. But the thing is, you find that governments that are smart, they are using culture to attract the world to themselves. It's basically buying and selling. And that thing will sometimes you won't see the result now. Just give it another 10 years. You see the way it will affect the country. And you see the way people will start going to that place to invest. Like, it will attract investment and all of that. So as far as I'm concerned, like, we are sitting on diamond, and
Gold
we're doing
mine.
nothing about it. And to even make it worse, like, individuals have even created that channel. They've shown us that you don't even need all this high commission and embassies to push, to advocate your policies. You can use individuals. These are iconic individuals who are already established. Just, put your weight behind them, tell them what to say. And if we do that, and I mentioned a few other things apart from sponsoring movies, things like competitions, things like cultural exchanges. Do you know that there is a national troop of Nigeria?
Yes.
There is a national troop of Nigeria.
Troop of Nigeria, yeah.
The last time I checked, those people are just like, they resume at the National Art Theater. There isn't much for them to do. That kind of troop should be doing a lot
They
more.
used to be
Nigeria
very
today
active
should
when
be
I
a
was in
major
Nigeria.
destination. Yeah, like Nigeria today should be a major tourism destination. Like people should be dying, like looking for the visa of Nigeria to go and like invest. And it's so sad. But I
It's
believe
really
that
sad. Well, I'm going to invite Bumi now on, but I just wanted to quickly drop this. That do you know that when Black Panther came out, Black Panther with Chadwick Boseman, there was such a high volume of people trying to book holidays to Wakanda, even though they kept telling them that it was a fictional country. People were actually trying to book
to
holidays
book.
to Wakanda, like they want
Imagine
to go to this place.
that Wakanda was the name of a place in Nigeria.
Ha!
Imagine it was
They'll get there be
Obudu Ranch.
disappointed. Like, what kind of Wakanda is this? I'm sorry, that was a silly joke, but I couldn't help myself. I had to laugh. Okay, Boomy, please rescue me from my very ugly joke. Yep.
Okay, so I thought if this was about movies, and I only knew about that like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
But
it's movies and
I
music.
would
It's both.
music. Oh yeah, me, oh yeah, me.
Mm.
So,
So you hear
so
Yoruba, you can speak
Ah.
Yoruba.
Her
Uh,
name is Bumi.
she will teach you Yoruba stuff, not just.
In fact, tell you, Lori Pali.
in fact, Yoruba movies are the best because they're the most authentic. Well, they're not the best. Enjoy Yoruba movies more than English movies produced in Nigeria because Yoruba ones tend to feel so much more authentic. I grew up watching those things. They're fucking amazing. But I am ridiculously proud of the Nigerian music industry. Like I cannot tell you. I moved to London in the 80s, and the only black music was reggae and raga, and it kind of had an effect on black people in England at the time. It was like they didn't even send Africans at all. We were just we were. They used to ridicule us in school. We were an object of scorn. It was ridiculous. Like, because young people are so heavily influenced by music and they didn't see us, they were only seeing West Indians. It was like we didn't exist to them or something. I mean, that Afrobeat started to become popular. London is so different now. Like the Nigerian clubs everywhere. Nigerian kids in British schools are so much more comfortable. They're having a completely different experience from what we had, where they used to laugh at us. Even Jamo people would be laughing at us. It was terrible. But the quality of the music that's coming out of Nigeria is so good. It's so high. I'm ridiculous. I'm so proud. Unlike Nollywood, the quality of things coming out of Nollywood is not so good. But I think Nollywood is going in a good direction now. I felt like the most important thing about Nollywood was we're moving away from those stupid religious movies we used to make. I don't know if you guys know about one woman who used to be mad popular back in the day. She used to produce all these demonic movie.
Oh, I am a
There was a
tanga and all that stuff.
there was a documentary that the BBC made called "The Witches of Akwa Ibom," and all those movies they spiked a horrible a period of fear where people were thinking that their children were witches and were responsible for their ill fortune, and all this horrible shit was happening to children. That's the one we even know. Even the things that happen to women, especially older women who are labeled
Mm.
witches. Um, those kinds of horrible religious movies in Nigeria were devastating to us. They were really, really devastating to us because a lot of Nigerians are illiterate. They see it in the movie, they believe it's true. You see a demon in a movie, and you've never seen a school before. You're not gonna doubt it. So I'm kind of glad that we're moving away from those kind of movies now and moving into more circular things. That's the thing I'll say about movies, but we're still nowhere near where we need to be. But we're a young industry, we have time. When it comes to music, I think what you guys have said is just so spot on, especially Abby. I'm not excited about the tourism thing. Tourism just doesn't seem to suit Nigeria. We're not homogeneous like Ghana. We're huge. We're, all over the place. But I do believe the government does have a role to play in influencing culture. And the thing is, in the world right now, the
Bless
way the
you.
world is, the dominant culture, thank you, my love, the dominant culture always has more influence. So everybody copies the Western culture because it's the dominant culture. But the Western culture itself is influenced
Mm,
by its government that is trying to manipulate its people. So we're copying something that, is designed not for our good, right? And
mm,
I'm a big fan of hip hop. I've been following hip hop since it started, and it's just gotten worse and worse, especially the misogyny. And Nigerian musicians, they're not there yet. They dance like them, they talk like them, but they're not singing about the things they were singing about. Like today, I find that Nigerian music is much more wholesome than hip hop. At least in Nigerian music, we're still singing about love. We're still saying, "I love you, marry me, yeah, the sugar on my tea and all this nonsense." They're not even singing about that in America anymore. Like, bitch, you gonna suck this dick or what? I mean, it's so raw now that you don't even want your children to listen to it. But Nigeria is moving in that direction too, slowly. And one thing it's already doing as bad is this dichotomy between how men sing about women and I will spend my money on you, let me buy you, so many songs about money, men spending money on women,
mm.
and I feel like in this wave of feminism that we're going through in Nigeria, it's really confusing. Because on the one hand, girls are singing about assurance or I'll spend all my money on you and all this, and at the same time they're getting another message that you need to be more independent, you need to take care of yourself. That thing really annoys me in Nigeria because I feel like a lot of feminists don't understand the fact that uh, women don't have the same access to opportunities that men have. So every man that's relying on a man is not just some lazy gold digging hole who doesn't have to work. We're stuck in a patriarchal system in a poor country. And what those songs are singing, it's singing about the reality, but it's also not where we want to go. We don't want to keep encouraging this culture of just find man and all your problems will be resolved. So you get so that's what I wanted to say. The
Mm.
tourism thing, but that the government should get involved. I agree. They need to understand that if they leave a vacuum, a cultural vacuum, where we can just do what we want, we're just gonna do what America is doing. We're just gonna do what England is doing, because that's what happens. Everybody follows the dominant culture, and
Exactly.
they're not doing what's good for us. So there has to be some definition, and there has to be some influence from us, to us at home. So all those ideas you guys had about that, I'm totally on board. I think it's accurate.
Honestly, you are talking a lot of things that is on my mind because when it comes to the music production that is coming from Nigeria, forget. Like I hear some music and I have chills. Like ah, ah, like when you hear the production
Sorry,
is
Abby, I don't mean to interrupt you, but that tourism thing when you said it, I was thinking about all the musicians that come to Nigeria, Beyonce, Sierra. We are a kind of tourism, but when we're a professional tourism, and we can keep going with that. The other thing I want to say about the music thing is it doesn't make money the way it used to traditionally anymore, like with records and CDs, where the government could get involved and make sure that bootlegging and all that is out of the question. Music industry has really changed. The main way they seem to make money is through concerts, and there's nothing stopping
yeah,
us from doing that. And we're already kind of doing it. All those festivals we have, we just need to do more of that. And since all these VIPs don't seem to have a problem with visiting Lagos, maybe that's what we need to do. A kind of a Nashville kind of thing, a city that's known for music and that attracts people in that business. As a kind of tourism, like how they have medical tourism in India, we can have musical tourism in Nigeria. That's what I mean. Sorry to interrupt you. Happy God.
yeah. I mean, they're already doing it with the shrine, Fela's shrine. So that place is jamming because at least Afro beats and everything is still going, and rightly so because it's iconic. However, the thing is, as I said, the production of music is top notch, but the content of music, that is my fear. Because just as you said, Bumi, we are now becoming very much like America. And because we are not as regularized as America, anything and look at Naramali when he sang Coming. Coming was in every studio, every station, and people were praying that it will be banned so that it will become more popular. It was a song that was like, I could never have heard that. Like, again, when you hear people like Sonia Day, it's not today that they are singing about Yansha and breast and everything. They've been singing about it for a long time. But you see, when you hear King Sonia Day sing about Yansha and breast, the way he will sing it, it was poetical.
It becomes
It
almost
was
King.
lyrical. It was it wasn't straight in your face. Tamurogo, 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 lolaye, tamuragaji, iragaji, kiragaji, kakaki, jataki, jakwe. He's talking about the woman form, but the way he talks about it is
Like,
so
well, no.
beautiful. That even you as a young person, you'll be dancing, you won't even know that he's already talking about everything
Honestly,
that
that
is
you're
in your
saying.
mind. There was a finesse. There was a finesse to the way music was done. But now that finesse is gone. The production is high, but the content. I'm sorry, and I do music. I mean, my show is on tomorrow, where I'll be playing Nigerian music. But even I sometimes I'm sitting in the studio and I'm like, oh, I only have to play this music because, well, this is what I do. But man, and sometimes I do throwback and I go and look for the real golden oldies and I bring them back. And you hear people sending feedback and going, I haven't heard that song since I was a child. I was like, but why aren't we still? Because, like I said, Australia's art, their music is still one of the things that they have as their own form of Nashville. You go to Australia when they eventually allow you through their border, because that their border is something else. But you go into Australia and you are met at every angle with their art, their music, their food, everything. The Aboriginals, even though the Aboriginals are not like the top people in the country, but they recognize that they're one of the oldest cultures in the world, and therefore that culture must be preserved. It must be, I mean, when you hear places like UNESCO saying, oh, this is a place of heritage, or this is something that needs to be kept, and we have so much of it in Nigeria, and yet we are giving it
Yeah.
all to Kayode.
I,
What have you got
I
to
wanted to
say?
add, okay,
Oh, okay,
uh,
Ron, speak, and then
let
Kayode.
me
Yeah.
add something. It's good that we're talking about movies and music now. There's another important aspect we should also look into, and that's the musical soundtracks and scores while playing the music.
Mm.
For over 20 years, it was just one format. I'm not saying it because remember, this show is just about providing solutions. We're not just criticizing
Of course.
for the sake of it. We're just trying to, throw in one or two things to help the industry.
Mhm.
Uh, for over 20 years, the home video industry, yeah, let me say, yeah, home video industry started in with people like Sam Okosio, Mike, Liam, and a couple of other senior bosses like that. But you see, it got to a point whereby if you are going to do a village scene or a rural scene, you're going to get musicians like Nkemo, and if you are taking it to the city, it's going to be Samuel Oposo. In fact, there was a time, my friend and I, this was like 2005, we counted over 50 movies within 3 months that Samuel Oposo sang all through the soundtrack. It's not as if he was
Oh,
doing
wow.
anything different. I'm sure that guy made a lot of money by just changing his keyboard every time or changing the he didn't even change the chord progression. All he changed was, I think he got to a point they were like, what's your movie about? Oh, an old woman died and the son became rich. Okay. The mama gets the pikin get money, oh, this mama die. You know, they'll sing the entire movie even
The
before the movie.
entire story, they'll sing it in the sound.
And I'm like, why are we
Oh,
even sitting
oh,
to
look
watch?
at the wickedness of man. Now she is blind. She has run
Why are you
away. She's no
sitting
longer in love with him. She has run away with his father. Oh, human beings. Human beings, yo. Human beings.
Oh God.
you
You
know,
should have heard the whole
you
story
know,
before you even watch the movie, Sam.
yeah, and I'm like, well, you guys made us buy this VCD to watch the movie. Why are you telling us the entire story in the fifth minute? Like, and then you have somebody, maybe a rich man's son is coming from America. Then now the movie is supposed to be 2 hours, right? For part one. I'm not
Mm.
talking about two, three, four,
Part
five.
one, oh,
For
it can be up to part four.
yeah, part one alone is 2 hours, right? Do you know that from the parents going to pick the child from the airport? It's going to take like the scene from the house to the airport and the house again will
Oh,
be like
that's
40
my pet
minutes.
peeve with those things. Ah, I can't stand it.
40 minutes. 40 minutes. You know,
That's
when
They
not
will
I'm not
nice.
they will film them opening the gates,
the
driving through
gates,
the gates,
knocking around.
closing the
If I,
gates, then on the
if I,
road.
want,
Oh,
if I,
gee.
In fact, one time there was a fine chick in one movie, and my friend and I were like, we really need to go and pay these guys a visit as soon, Larry. Like, really, we know the way to the house because the entourage virtually drove from the airport to these people's house, and I'm like, why would you even do a thing like that? Then we have the party scene. Oh, naming ceremony or marriage. Oh my goodness, that's like two third of the movie scene.
Oh
That
God.
like virtually
We're
two
bad
third.
at
Every other thing
editing.
goes to
We're so
two
bad at
third of the whole
editing. I
movie.
don't understand.
So I think it has to
The
do with
timing
laziness.
progression. Like anybody who is into filmmaking knows that every moment on film should mean something. It should count for
Oh,
something. And then you are
okay.
then watching someone open a gate, close the gate, walk to the door, then stand and
Wait,
think.
wait,
Then the
wait,
soundtrack will not come. Oh, he's thinking, oh, he's thinking, he's thinking,
wait.
he's thinking.
How about the counter soundtrack? Counter soundtrack. They are doing an Igbo cultural celebration in the compound of the rich man, and Samuel Koso is also singing over he's singing over the live musician in the movie, and Samuel Koso is telling us with what I'm like, this is chaos. Who do I listen to? Okay, fine. Samuel Bosa has a better voice, but this other guy is singing an interesting cultural tune. So my brain is like getting confused, and
Well,
okay,
even in
you know,
Yoruba Nollywood too, at a point in time was Tokpa Iola who was singing every single soundtrack. And she was, oh, and it is always the same thing. Oh, hey, oh, look at the world, oh, wickedness of man. Hey, ooh. It's like, why? Why is it? And
eh,
then when something is about to happen, like according to the film, there's some kind of climax that's coming. The music will just say, like, what is going on?
and
And it's the
then
same soundtrack in every single film. It's like they
then
have a bank of music and they share
wait,
it to everybody.
there's this one too in Nollywood, the local one, when somebody's walking through a village park. And it's like, I've heard this over a million times. Why are you guys playing the same thing? Like, can't you guys hire somebody to do this thing? Then there's this one that a lady, they'll push the bell. Dun, dun. She's wearing a weave on, watching TV in the living room. Then she comes out of the compound. All of a sudden, the hair is permed. Okay. Then she opens the gate. She's back on the weave on, but this time around, she's wearing another pair of shoes with another wristwatch. I'm like, yeah, I'm the kind of person that notices such a continuity. And why did you guys pay the continuity guy? Like, he should have done his job. Then we also, in fact, we're going to expand on all this next week. The script writing, the grammar check, and all that. Because King of Boys was,
Hey,
when it comes to grammar check and all that, it was a disaster. You didn't speak the Yoruba properly. Even the English, you still did not speak it
Ah,
properly.
that's the
Everything was just.
annoying
You are about to unleash Bumi's pet peeve. No, stop. Stop
But,
right
no,
now.
no. But we must come next week to address these problems because
Ah,
you should see it. Then, but
because I
basically,
remember she almost fought somebody over this thing. Oh. Like,
but
man, King of Boys, what nonsense? She was so angry.
no,
annoying. How
I
are you
get.
going to be a Nigerian movie and you can't find people who can speak the language properly? You understand? It's not Swahili we were asking you to speak Yoruba. You can't find someone who can speak Yoruba convincingly in a fucking Yoruba movie. Come on, give
Are
me
they?
grace. And I think
Was
a big part of it is they don't care. They're more interested in these fake English accents some of their actors and actresses have than they're not proud of things like that. Of the fact that if a language sounds good, it's a good thing internationally for people to hear how the language actually. How are you gonna sell a movie from Nigeria to foreigners where you're spoiling the language? Koyemi, I can't understand.
And you say,
That's
my
what
name is
happened.
Ayadeji. My name is Ayadeji.
Honestly,
A customer shalafialewa. What is that?
and
honestly,
they were not
people
dealing
will
with
say, ah,
they were
God,
dealing with irrelevances too. They were not dealing with irrelevances in the
Ah,
movie.
no, I beg. That irrelevance was too much. It was too much.
Come on,
very annoying,
come
very,
on.
very annoying.
And the
But you
movie,
know
And
what? I have to give kudos to
Kemi,
the a lot of no I'm even talking about a lot of the film writers now, like when you see some of these film writers, I like the directors and everything, forget, I have nothing but like awe, because with the
yeah,
way the Nigerian climate is, for them to come and actually write scripts that, I mean, I've seen some films I'm like, oh, like Remy Binola, Nkiru Joku, Biodun Stevens, Akin Tijani. I mean, I'm trying to remember everybody. Bosse and Tokwe Oshi. Oh my God, those
okay,
ladies. I'm
yeah.
like, these guys are like, you know what? They are really doing the work. They are doing the work. They're not just throwing any film together. They're really doing the work. So I have to give kudos to, again, this is the fear, or this is the trick. And I understand that Nigeria is a very difficult country to do things in, and it's hard to trust people when money is involved.
Mm,
But when it's almost like Tyler Perry presents with some of these some of these directors or producers,
yeah.
because now them they write the scripts, now them they produce them, now them they act inside. Now, like they're the only you will see like several
You're
different things is them. you it can only work so far. It can only work for a period of time. After a period of time, just like Tyler Perry, it becomes the same old, because you that you are the stories that you harbor. So when you tell those stories, you have to have fresh inputs to make your stories different. If you're the only one writing your stories will continue to have that same, there's some, like, I'm a writer, I'm a short story writer. I know that if I wrote a story today, there are people who read my work who, as soon as they see it, they're like, that's Biodun's story. As in, I can put it in the midst of 300 stories and they'll be able to pick it out and say, that story must have been written by Biodun, because there's a way that I use language, there's a way that I write, there's a way that they have come to know. And it's the same to a lot of these writers, a lot of these producers, a lot of these directors. We have come to know the way they write, how they write, what they write about, and open up the room for other people to come in and bring in fresh ideas. And it's like, it's almost impossible. Same thing with music writing. It's just recently that we started hearing that, okay, in Nigeria, artists are letting other people write their songs. For a very long time, whether you can write music, you can't write music, oh, you must write your own. Oh, you're not letting somebody else write it for you. because you don't want you don't want to pay money or whatever it is or whatever stress it was. But with people like Don Jazzy coming in and bringing a whole new facelift to music, he started saying, yeah, we'll have songwriters and you can sing them. Tenny was the one who wrote one of Davido's popular songs. She was one who wrote it for him, and there are many artists like that who write for each other, and it's happening in Nigeria. It's a very common thing in America, but it's happening in Nigeria now. So while we complain about the things that are happening, and they are happening, I'm still going to go and watch one film, at least one film this night before I sleep. Or I'll try, sure. Maybe I might not, but I'll definitely watch tomorrow. But we'll still see the same things. I watched a film. I watched this was last year. I watched two separate films where a girl was blind, and then somehow she got to meet some rich guy, and the rich guy and the blind girl was a virgin, and the rich guy fell in love with her and everything, and then they had coitus, and somehow in the middle of that coitus his magic something opened her eyes. When she hit orgasm, her eyes too opened, and next thing she started to see in two separate films. I'm like, who writes this? Who writes this kind of thing? Where, in what planet? Candy, you're a nurse. Please, has anybody's eye who was born blind, the person was born blind, suddenly started to see because they had an orgasm?
Well,
Problem with Nigerian.
this is not something I've heard of before.
Two films.
Nigerian
I saw it
too simplistic. They're too simplistic. That's literally a fairy tale. That's like Sleeping Beauty or Cinderella or anything like that.
Even Cinderella.
No, it's literally a fairy tale. They take that's the thing about Nigerian movies. It's getting better now. But the stories are so simplistic. It's all, good or bad. You did good things and good things happen to you. You did bad things and bad things happen to you. But that's not how life is. I wrote a meme and said that life is not a Nollywood movie. I almost pissed my pants because it was like, it's becoming a meme because we know that's how Nollywood movies are. They're this simplistic thing that, this person was a bad person and bad things happen to them. Where? The bad people all over Nigeria, nothing bad ever fucking happens to them, So I'm kind of glad that we're slowly getting away from those fairy tale movies and doing things with more meat, more true to life.
Sorry,
you can predict almost everything. You can predict where it's going.
I'm telling you, 5 minutes in, and you can actually tell, this is how the film is going to end.
I want to ask Dr. Kunuji, right? What do you think? Okay, what's the way forward with this soundtrack of a thing? Because how do you think they can revamp it? Like, it's not just enough playing a popular artist's song while the movie is playing. I'm talking about emotional expressions, using music to express emotional, like when somebody is sad, when somebody is angry, when there's about to be a violent setting is about to occur and all that.
Bruh, it's a simple thing. Budget. There has to be a budget for your musical team. Your musical team has to sit down, watch the film, compose music, sit down, go into a studio, create music for the film. Abby?
You took that right out of my mouth. Yeah, you're right. Like, I don't know how we can't get around that. In the first place, I must say that Nigeria has the resources in terms of culture. Like, there are, do you know how many local instruments that people don't even know exist? And you can use these instruments to actually achieve a lot. You can use them to create, there are so many, traditions that are unexplored. And if we took the time to really like dig deep and see what works where, like, we have all the resources that we need. But one of the major challenges is, like the budget. They want to minimize the number of people that will be involved. And another thing is the duration. Sometimes you find that somebody wants to make a movie in 2 weeks or in a month or max three months. And if you want to do a thorough job, you can't
You
even
can't.
a year you might still be on one project, and of course that means money. So that's why that's where sponsorship comes in.
Nigeria that churns out music every week, music every week, and films every week.
If you want to have movies and music that stand the test of time, you can't skip the process has to be thorough. Like, you have to go from stage to stage. That's one of the reasons why I really like um, academia. Before you publish one article, you have at least 3 peer reviewers, and apart from the editor, and these are people who are like, they are sound. I just wish we could have like a board that whatever movie you want, something like quality control. I don't know if that exists anywhere.
We talked about this some weeks ago. Like
Like,
tested
if
that okay, hey, free now you can go ahead and do this film. We have tested
yeah,
language control. First of all, bring people who speak the language. Oh yeah, let's
yeah,
sit down, let's hear. Okay, okay, okay,
yeah,
okay. Pass. Move on to the next thing. The
yes.
other Stevens did a film recently, Beauty and the Beast. It was based around the Beauty and the Beast kind of story, but she actually did it in a village in Ogu, in Badagry, and they
Hmm.
actually spoke Ogu in the film. And I actually wrote her a letter and I said, you know what, from one proud Badagry girl, I want to say thank you. Because even though
Hmm.
there was Yoruba in the film, but you incorporated my native tongue into
Hmm.
that film, which is something that I hadn't seen ever,
Are
ever.
you talking about Jemeji?
No, it's I
Okay.
don't know no, I don't know the exact place, but it
Okay.
was she said the people were very unfriendly, but that they
Hmm.
sort of worked it out and everything. I said, well, again, Badagry is exploited even till now. So of course, a lot of the people sometimes can be unfriendly because they know that when foreigners come, they get exploited.
They
But
exploit them.
it was
But
so
the thing
beautiful
is,
to hear.
you need field work for some of these movies, because like I collaborated with a local band in Badagry, and it's not something that happened in a day or two. We're talking about at least over 2 years we were on this work. Like, you go into the field, like, of course, if you study, like, if you're used to research, you know how these things happen.
Mm,
You can't expect to get results on your arrival on the first day. Then they welcome you, they say, we've been waiting for you. No, it's not going to happen that way. And
mm,
I just wish we'll get to that point where, before we make movies, we do field work.
mm,
Get all the, like, get the connoisseurs, the people who know about this culture that you want to depict in your movie. People who can talk to you, and of course you will spend money. So personally, I just feel like, in the first place, the people who have these ideas, they need to pitch it to. And another thing that we are not leveraging on is the fact that, anyway, Nigeria people don't really pay tax, but many companies can actually take off money from their tax to sort of like give back to the society. So, for
yeah,
instance, I went
sponsorship.
to, yes. So I know that companies will be able to do this more easily, because in countries where people really pay tax, you get tax refund on those kind of things, because it's counted as something that contributes to the society. I don't know the technical name that's given, but really, like, we just need to pitch these ideas to, I like, MTN is doing Project Fame. There is GTB, there is First Bank, there is, all these big companies and all of them. Like, if the problem, I would say that it's about the people who are making these movies, because it looks to me like some of them don't even know that there are these possibilities, that you can actually have an idea, approach a company,
But
particularly if you have a name, and
MTM is
pitch
also
it to
the
them.
phone company that they're going to be using to vote on Project Fame, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So they actually make money.
So
You
there's
So
know,
your
they're making
answer.
money.
They have to have an incentive. That's not a movie. Those things are cash cows. Those reality shows are cash cows. But I think the
Yeah, but
idea
the
that
thing is with movies, a lot like okay, the latest Bond film just got premiered today. You should have seen the hula baloo that was all over the TVs, the news, like news stations were carrying news about, oh, James Bond is premiering today, blah 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 blah.
because
And you
it's
can
it's
see
a
in the clips that they were showing, he was using an Apple. He was using an Apple thing. He had an Apple wristwatch, but they're subtle. They're not in your face, but they're subtle things that you sort of cutting on and go like that. But
Yeah,
unfortunately,
a lot
the
of
art
a
of
lot of brands actually
subtlety.
do that. They put like
Sorry.
product placement. I said a lot of brands do that. They put like product placement. For example, Iron Man always drove an Audi. That's what that was Audi's plug. It's not something that's like in your face, but like
Hmm.
yeah, there are. It's just like what James Bond and the Rolex and all these
Yeah.
different things. Yeah, a lot
yeah,
of
but
they do.
these things are big franchises. Nobody is going to give you
Right,
money
right.
to advertise in your 20K movie and no one's heard about you. Sure, you understand. So we have to I feel like we have to be we have to prioritize our criticism. Right
Mhm.
now,
No, but it's
I can
you
imagine
can
that
start
budget.
small.
Hold on. I can imagine that keeping your budget low is a huge priority for Nigerian filmmakers, right? And so, what are the things that you can forgo, or the things you can't forgo? I think a soundtrack you can forgo. A soundtrack is nice, but it won't. They're not going to not choose your movie at the IFC if
You
it's a really
can't
good
forego a
movie.
soundtrack.
Like,
Oh, if you want a
Really?
film to be sweet,
Really?
you
You
the
can't
can't
truth
forego
forego
a
is,
movie
soundtrack.
because of the
music
soundtrack. Really?
music
the
actually
soundtrack
has
is a
the
bonus.
ability, like, you retain, even in sort of, I'm sure that you
No
all
movie
know
has
there are
ever
songs that,
won an award because of its soundtrack. The
no,
soundtrack
the
can win
thing
an
is,
award, but
it's,
But
no
it's
movie has ever
yeah.
won an award because the soundtrack was good. A soundtrack is a luxury a lot of Nigerian filmmakers cannot afford. So most of the musicians that have name recognition because the point of a soundtrack is nobody uses unknown people for soundtracks, right? So it's famous people. It's part of selling your movie. But if you don't have money, where the fuck are you gonna find the money to be asking Whiskey to write you a song? So I think a soundtrack, it's a bit much, but also expect them to have that. I think what they need to focus on is better screenplay writing, because
Yeah.
you can write you can. There's one famous movie from the States called Seven Angry Men. That movie was years ago. It won so many awards. The whole thing was shot in one room with 12 people sitting around the table from beginning to end. You know those kind of weird movies where it's just one couple or something. We don't like to watch them because they're difficult to watch. But the ones that get through because they're really clever. Compare that to something like Terminator or Iron Man. Those are high budget movies. The stories are weak, but it's all about the effects. So that
Hmm.
tells me that to make money, to get an award, to break even, keep your expenses down by not going into those like big flashy movies, and make it about something that the content is really good. I mean, I don't think the
Hmm.
Nigerian audience is ready for that, but I would say that if I was in the industry, that's what I'll be thinking about. Like, okay, how can I
But
write
they
something
can
so
be a
smart
trade by
that
barter.
I don't need all these frills to sell the movie. Sure, you get.
But
But I don't think
I
Nigerians
still
do that. I
believe
think
that the
Nigerians like
music.
this. They
I'm
just
just
like to have
thinking of
one
all
fine
the
house,
Nigerian
one
films
fine
I've
car.
I'm just thinking about the Nigerian films that I've watched and enjoyed, and I cannot remember any of the music at all.
No, don't
it's
worry.
because the music is
It's
not
not that
good.
important.
Yeah,
But
the
the
music
movies,
was
but I'm saying I'm
suffice them
talking about
about.
movies that I've enjoyed that are good. Because you're saying movies need a soundtrack, but like, I
Actually,
just don't.
I
actually,
think I think you
let me
guys'
just
love of
take.
music is making you biased. You love music.
Yeah.
That's why you're seeing it
I would
that
even
way.
use the example of adverts. Like music, if it's well written, it achieves a lot. Like music can make, okay, for instance, you know that music can be used to make you remember things. For instance, if someone is struggling from, like someone has a medical condition and they forget, one of the things that they use is the music that the person has listened to,
Yes, they use
way
that a
back
lot in
or
Yeah.
around the
Alzheimer's
event.
patients. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we're not
the
denying the power
point
of
is,
music, but you
Yeah, I
can
love
use
music too. I'm
existing
just saying.
music. You don't have
Yeah.
to hire Wizkid when you're
yeah,
already.
of course,
Oh,
I agree with that. In
You
fact, there
just
are
use
music
an old
libraries. For
song.
instance, I know a music library in Cape Town, for instance, where you can go and pay a token. It's not exclusive rights. You just get the right to use it for your movie. Someone else can use the same music, but like the library is massive. Is the biggest music library. So I'm not particularly after you going up. I'm not after you getting the big musicians to do your soundtrack.
But
My own point
appropriate
is
music.
appropriate music. You can't be using the same sound effect all the time, like Ron was saying. You can't
Oh,
be
okay,
oh,
using
okay,
okay.
okay.
you
Okay.
you
I
can't be
see what you're saying
using
now.
the same voice. People are hearing the same voice every time. Like it will
It's
bore them.
even psychologically it can smudge and merge all the movies in your brain. You think you're watching the same movie, and there are 10
Oh, I
different
see.
movies. But
I
because you
get you
keep
now. I
watching
get you.
and listening to the same soundtrack, you just
Soundtrack.
get confused at some point. You think it's the same movie. And when you're discussing with
I
someone,
guess
they say,
we
no,
don't.
I didn't see that. No, we're not
Guess we
discussing the
don't
same
watch
movie.
that much movies, Candy. I've never heard of this
There's,
problem.
there's,
Yeah.
a, there's a series that I watched on Netflix before 30. I'm telling you, the acting was really good. The stories were
Oh, yeah,
really
me.
good. But you see the music, eh? In fact, as I'm talking to you right now, there's still one of the songs that is playing in my head, by Kelani Akikunugbe or something like that. Everybody knows that I still love you. That track. Oh my God! Whenever it came up in the film, in the program, like I'll be like this. I'll be like, my heart will be shaking because I know that she's about to make a bad decision. It was like the soundtrack to her bad
Oh,
decisions.
like what
You understand what I'm saying? So
okay.
you already know that, okay, hey. And that's what we're talking about. That appropriate music, not a film has started. They'll say, hey, now we go here of Chief Kiriko Kiriko. He's the richest man. He's a wicked man. Oh, he's a wicked man in the village, and now he likes to follow other people's wives. So the next thing you see the chief go. So now you see a woman coming. So obviously you already know that she's somebody's wife and he's going to stop on the road and try and get her to sleep with him. Hey, and Chief Kiriko Kiriko, he get juju. Wait, they take catch women. Oh, wait, they take. So you already know that he's going to get the woman. What is the point of watching the film? Why they've
I get
already
you.
told everything that's going to happen inside?
That's so funny. I didn't know about this. I guess.
It's tiring. I swear.
Appropriate music. It's really
Yeah, so we're
I
essential.
not
get you.
saying, oh, you have to go and get big names. We're just saying
We
Yeah.
thought
appropriate
you meant.
music.
We thought you meant what they do over here, which is that one of the ways they try to publicize a movie is that they'll go and hire the most popular
No, who has
musicians
that
of
kind
the
of
day.
money in Nigeria?
That's why you kept saying soundtrack. That's what I kept thinking because that's what
If
we've
if
seen
you
over
ask
here.
me, if you ask me,
But
you're better
I
off
see what
getting
you
an
mean now.
unknown. If you
I
ask
see
me,
what you
you're
mean.
better off getting an unknown, good, upcoming musician. Nobody
Like
knows.
me. They can come
Yeah,
and get me. It's a lie, oh.
I'm serious. I'm
Their
serious.
music, their film will not sell 1 naira if they. They'll be like, who is this frog singing right now?
It's true. We can as well just say, okay, fine. Get somebody who is not popular but is very skillful. Like, okay, now let's say because Kuniji is not mainstream because it's an academic, and you get me and I say, okay, let's do a serious drama. I'm not even talking of action or thriller, just a serious drama with high pace or intense emotions involved. Then it's okay, Koniji, play horns, you play string, because the easiest way to get people's emotion and get people crying in movies is either through strings, violin,
Horn. Yep.
trumpet, horns. These are the emotional instruments in the music section you can use to gather people. Why were you crying during Indian films? Think about it. It's those there, me. Then the camera will zoom into that. Zoom out again. Zoom.
Sunita.
Indian classical music.
Yeah, and you see that.
And meanwhile, people who study these things, they can tell you, play this chord here and it will achieve this. Like all of these things, if you don't know, you don't know. Like you can't just go and get somebody who plays praise worship in church and you say, come on, like nothing against praise worship, but what I'm saying is these are people who don't really have that expert. They are not experts.
Yeah.
Why will everybody like? And the
But
funny
what's
thing
wrong? Can they not use existing songs?
that's what
They
I'm saying.
can,
There
but
are
they
music
choose not to.
libraries. There are actually music libraries.
Let me
in
explain it to
Africa.
her.
There
Let
is
me ex-
one
let me
in
explain.
Cape Town here, and you pay
Let me
just
explain it to her.
little
Wait,
to
let
use
him
Let me
the
ex-
music.
So
okay.
what's the problem? Why are they doing that? Are they
Let
all
me
using
let
the
me
same
explain it to
songs? That's what you guys were
no,
saying before.
Bumi,
Like
let
they
me
were all
explain it
using the
to
same
you.
song.
Bumi, let me explain it to you. You see,
Yes,
in the
love.
course
Go
of a
ahead.
movie, I'm sure you don't notice this, but after I tell you today, you pay attention. Now, there's time for soundtrack, established soundtrack, normal track that an artist has produced. You can incorporate it into a movie. Then there are those times for emotion where you really need to emphasize it. Now, an ordinary soundtrack or ready-made soundtrack will not cut it. The
There
person
has
who is
to be.
going to do it, it has to be intentional. It must be
Mm.
tailor-made. Somebody has to watch that scene and say, okay, this is how I'm going to drive this emotion across to the audience. So it now behooves the person to pay attention, listen, like those who do cartoons, Walt Disney cartoons. They're not going to play all their important soundtrack. They watch it first and see how the story goes. They say, oh, okay, the fish has fallen into the ocean now, and then what's it? Finding Nemo. Nemo can't find his father. Then they'll get somebody with violin. I miss my dad. Then the person is playing.
Yeah, but those are whole songs. They're not
No,
entire
no, no, they're
songs.
not whole songs. They are short. They are not long. They are really second
They are
songs. Like
factured for that. They are manufactured for that.
20 seconds,
Yeah,
15 seconds tune. Do you understand? And once they are
yeah.
done with it, that tune expires. You move to the next scene and sort it out. So it's bringing in the video, Wizkid's black skin girl is not going to cut it. The person really needs to
Yeah.
watch it. The person needs to watch.
In fact, with cartoon, you know that they use orchestra. Like people sit down and they write
My
words
goodness, cartoon is
for
big. It's
cartoon.
a big deal.
We are not saying that Nollywood should do that, but at least get someone who is an expert in that area, someone
And
who
that
can,
kind of thing. Yeah. Who knows
yeah,
about
film
music
scoring.
and
Okay, somebody, something sad has happened, or
this is
something,
what you
like
say.
get somebody who can tell you that, okay, if you do this, it will achieve this. For instance, do you know that South Africa, for instance, has, the history of South Africa? And do you know
Has
that
what?
every time that I listen to the national anthem of South Africa, there is one section that makes me very emotional because of the progression. And it's something that I believe is, like, you know that
Was
the anthem
deliberately
was
done.
actually adopted. It was a song that existed before it was adapted as the anthem. So it's a song that's emotional. The song was composed from a place of quote and unquote
Pain.
suffering, pain. So
No,
those are the
nobody's
kind of
talking about the power of music. we were talking about the power of a soundtrack, the one that they contract out to. Of course, music is probably one of the most important parts of a movie. We were never arguing with you guys about that. We agree
So
completely.
I think we need to differentiate between a score and a soundtrack, though, because the score is
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
very
thank
different
you.
yeah.
than
Oh,
yeah.
The scores
Yeah.
and the
See
We're
that?
just
I don't
soundtrack.
talking
understand.
about scores right now.
Yeah,
yes,
Both.
yes.
we're
Yeah,
actually talking
not
about the
soundtrack.
scores. Because the soundtracks, of course, at the end of a film, they bring in different artists to come and sing a song and blah blah blah. But we're actually talking about the scoring of films in Nigeria. There's no scoring of films in Nigerian film right now. No scoring. It's just
Don't.
whatever it is that we can put in, slappy, slappy here, slappy there,
Yeah.
slappy there, and everything.
And
To God
keyboard
be the
effects.
glory. To God be the glory and everything. I mean, I was watching not Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, when they were going to the mountain, when the dwarfs were going to the mountain, and the music they were playing. And next thing, I looked at my arm, and like the hairs on my arm was like this. Like, I was just like, wow, I have not
It's
watched a
crazy.
Nigerian film that I'm watching a scene. In the first place, they're playing a scene, right? They're seeing you get a CB. Then to now score the song to the you get a CB. You'll be sitting and you'll be fuming. Like, oh,
Well, now that you mention it, now that we've differentiated the two, you are right though. Like scores can really make a movie or a show or whatever.
But yeah.
Because one
it's
of
the
the
scores we were talking about, to be
yeah,
honest,
because
not the
one of
soundtrack. It
because
was the
I
scores.
don't know who used to
Yeah.
watch Game of Thrones here, but one of the scores
Yeah,
that
yeah,
stuck in
yeah.
my head when Cersei was supposed to go on trial, the score throughout that episode, oh my god, it was
Oh my
so
God.
appropriate. It
Yeah.
was
So
like I
Yeah.
had to go
yeah, it was
download
on
it. Like
point.
it was on
Absolutely.
point. Like the ups and downs and the crescendos. It just like
Fine.
yeah,
You're spot
yeah,
on. There was a
yeah.
song in
And
Slumdog
imagine
Millionaire
if
I
a
downloaded.
Nigerian
Kennedy,
film,
Bumi Kennedy saying
imagine a
hi.
Nigerian film, well
Oh my
written.
God.
I've been saying hi to her quietly. I didn't want to shout because, hello, sweetie. Imagine a well-written Nigerian film that has been written, edited, gone through the paces, then come and put correct score on top of it. That film is like, ha!
You're right.
You
You're
understand?
right.
Like, people would not even understand why they love the film, because many times when we are talking about a film, part of what gets us that we don't even consciously remember is the music. Like when you think
Yeah.
about Black Panther, you start when there that whether you want
Oh,
to
the
accept
Eye of
or
the
not.
Tiger. Till today, every time I hear the Eye of the Tiger, I feel like I should be jogging or beating
Yeah.
somebody.
Oh, Popsy.
In fact, why will people be playing
I
the
can't
music
speak
of
on now.
Mario? You remember that game, that Mario game?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
My younger brother changed it to Jebalaye Kowagbo Belorun.
Yeah. You know.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm telling you,
all
we
of us
have
is
a
quite
long
important.
way, but we all.
You see, I never noticed this in old movies. They need to go and find those old timers that used to
Episodes
kind
they
of
go.
work.
I personally have actually offered to work free because that's
To help
how
them.
much I believe in the possibility. I said I will work free. Let me edit it. Let me do translations. Like when you have subtitling.
We
I
know
will
a lot
do
of
it
people in
free.
this business now. Help
And
all
I'm
of
sure
them.
there are people who feel so much like me who be like, okay, you know what? The first 10 films that come under the under the umbrella of this new body, we are going to do all, we are going to give our services free just because we want Nigerians to see that it is possible. The things they go
Right.
and look for in American films, it is possible to find it in our own films. So we are
Yeah.
going to do this thing free. Then after the 10 films, after we've done it and we've succeeded, now we start calling big money.
Yeah.
And if we can find people who just come together like that, subtitling people, continuity, music, wardrobe, storytellers, story writers, everybody coming together to actually just work and say, okay, we are going to do this, and we can do 10 solid films. I'm telling you, we would switch
Absolutely.
things around.
I mean, people win awards. It's a category at the Oscars, no? Wait, Grammys. No, both. It's a category,
Yeah,
right?
both.
Songwriter or scores or something. It's a big deal
Mhm.
because you're spot on. It can make or break a film completely. And this is one of those
Yeah.
things that I don't know how expensive it is to go to these libraries and buy one of those things,
Like,
but
do you know that
it could
after
it
many
could
years?
totally improve a film without you spending too much money. Sorry.
Yeah. Have you watched Rocky 4? Rocky 4, that's the one they did in Russia. Oh my goodness.
Limited.
Till this day, I will tell you, I know there was action, I know there was drama. It's the scores that really, really pushed Rocky 4 beyond
Yeah, it was
every level. That's Sylvester Stallone and Dolph Lundgren. You need
Even
to
some
see.
stupid American films, it's the score that pushes it.
Oh, yeah,
The
yeah.
film is stupid, but
most
it's,
of them are rubbish.
but the
Total rubbish.
score will the cocker it to the front. So we're not saying America is the standard. No, America isn't the standard, but they
They're not even that good at it.
understand.
The British, oh my
They
God, the British are good at this. The British never make a movie with bad music, and
forget.
they're much more soulful than their
Deuces,
American counterparts. It's
proudly
crazy.
British representing.
Honestly, British movies, the sound, the background music that they pick, it's not from here. They're really good at it. You're right. The Americans suck.
Because I'm telling you,
Yeah,
their
watch out.
entire bodies, and even look British films. This is where the power of collaboration. That is why I believe so much in collaboration, because I have seen it at work. There are some films, they'll go to like maybe some university students who are music students, get them together and tell them there's this project. Oh yeah, come and play, come and tell us what you can do. And they will come together, they might create 8 different songs for this film, for this one scene that they have seen, and then they'll come and play it, and then they'll tweak it here, tweak it there, tweak it there, and all for what? Credit that their name is going to show up that they played music. They're not going to collect 1 naira, but just that because they understand that building your career with credits is going to pay off in the future. Because when you're not saying, oh, I played music in Skyfall, and I also played music in Kiniko, and I played music in it. When you now go to a place and you bring out they will be afraid to ask you that how much you will pay because in their head you are already worth so much. So they are not money up front. They are like, okay, sure, I will get credit, no problem, I will do it, no problem, I'll do it, because they know there will come a point.
It's a very common
Well,
model
Bumi,
these days. Even in
Bumi,
my
are you
world,
traveling
we build
interstate?
apps, we give them to people for free, and we expect to get the money some other way. So that model is it's common now. And it can totally work.
Bumi, are you
You're
traveling
absolutely right.
interstate?
Oh God,
Are you
on my
traveling
phone
interstate?
ring. No, it's because I got lost talking to you people.
I just knew she was lost.
Circles.
She keeps going.
I've been taking it in circles the past 20 minutes.
I'm sorry.
I don't know where I am.
I just noticed that it's like she's lost.
Okay, Dr. Kunoji,
I'm
can
very
you
sorry.
please play some musical score for
You
What
no,
is
you
that?
can you can leave this doctor thing out, man.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
I know where
okay,
I am now.
Let's leave that one for the
okay. Now she has found where she's
undergrad.
going. So what is the music that we're going to play? Danan, 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 tata, danan, danan,
Okay,
danan, tata.
okay, Kunoji, give us.
Is that the one of
Kunoji,
success? That's not the sound of
can you,
victory or
Kunoji,
success.
can you give us? Can you, at an instant notice, give us emotional tunes? Like play something happy, play something sad. Or you tell us what you want to play, then we listen and see how it affects us.
She has already
Playing what
gotten to
For
her
way?
real?
destination, so we
Oh,
want happy
you
music.
okay? You know what? I'm
You,
actually feeling
I
your
think I
right
should
now.
just point
What the
you in one direction.
wait? Which
There
song
is
did? Which song was Sonny Ade singing when he was saying "Omushiki shiki 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 show me your berry"?
You have spoiled. You have spoiled.
Okay, why are you people in the mood? What are you in the mood for?
Do you have the horn with you?
I really,
Do you have your horn with you?
eh?
No,
Yeah.
I'm
No,
asking.
we're asking Kuruji, do you have your horn with you?
You're
my
asking what?
horn is close, but it's a bit
Okay,
Okay,
give
so
us,
loose. Okay,
play
maybe
something. Play
give us
something for
happy,
Bumi.
and give us sad. Give us happy, so that the people watching can understand the importance of scoring. It doesn't have to be
Yeah,
something too
right.
funny. Just a rough
Because we're
idea.
putting you on the spot.
There's a
If
song
you don't
called
want to
"Don't
no.
do it,
Worry,
it's
This
Be
is it.
fine.
Happy." There's an old
Even
song
if
called
you
"Don't
drown,
Worry,
I'm
Be
looking at
Happy."
the time.
even
It's
if you
11
drown,
o'clock here.
if you drown Dr. Kuniji and wake him up, he will still play. So don't worry for him. Don't worry.
Hey,
No,
boy, he's saying
the
it's
thing
11
is,
p.m. Will his neighbors appreciate him blowing his horn at
He has
11 p.m. at
he's
night?
got a mute now. He's got a mute.
so the thing is, for me, one of the first trumpeters that really got me into this film scoring thing, like that really made me realize how powerful film scoring is Terence Blanchard. Is an
Yeah,
American
Yeah,
yeah.
I've heard
I
of
know him
him.
musician.
very well. Yeah.
And there was this Hurricane Katrina that happened, I think 2008 or something,
Yeah.
in New Orleans, and it destroyed basically where the guy grew up. And he wrote an album. That was the first jazz album that I heard that I shed tears. In fact, the only until now. Like if you listen to, there's a particular song called Ashe or something, ASHE,
Ooh,
Mm.
Ashe.
I thought you said it was
Go
an
check that thing on
American.
YouTube. That song is so powerful. Like he sounded the horn like he was weeping. Like you will hear him weep. Like you hear him cry.
But you know, the history of New Orleans also has Yoruba connotations in it. So I'm not
African
Yes,
connotation, Africa.
of
surprised that
course. New
it's.
Have
Orleans,
you guys seen
Edward,
them do
that's
their
where
dance?
jazz started from. So,
Sorry?
New
uh,
Orleans, the jazz
jazz,
dance.
New Orleans is like the
I
headquarters
think
of
it's
jazz.
called. Candy, what's it called? The two-step. That jazz, that dance they do at funerals in New Orleans. You watch that shit.
Yeah, the
Uh,
jazz
Vibes in
funeral.
it, and people
dead man
Yoruba is
views.
dancing. Have
Dead
it.
man views.
There's a way they right. There's a way they dance. It's totally Yoruba. Like I can't. I went to a party where my friend was doing like a Mardi Gras thing. She's from New Orleans. I picked it up like that because it's literally how we dance. You know, and over here it seems something really complicated and different. So yeah, there's a lot of African influence.
For me, I'm
A
seeing the
lot of
same trees again. Are you lost again?
no, I'm
You're
on my
seeing the
street
same
actually.
trees.
I'm good.
That's
Okay,
legendary
give
for you
us.
to know trees. You
You need to
know,
give us
you
the
know how the
tune.
trees look.
Yes.
Don't worry,
Give
be
us the
happy.
tune.
Just
Okay,
Just give us
collect what
the
you.
tune.
because we already 2 hours and 9 minutes in. So can you play us some music and then we wrap up? This is just
Okay,
part
what
one. We are
I
having
don't really.
some heavy hitters next week.
I'll tell them
It's
just
not
now.
me you're asking, right?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of
I
what to
told you a
play.
song. You people just didn't hear me.
Okay, while he's thinking, Ron, can you tell us who's coming next week?
Okay, so the first person that we're putting on the spot is Uncle Fred Amata. So he's going to be supporting us next week with his presence and telling us defending Nollywood because we are going to
Yeah.
attack him.
He's
I
one
told you
of
we are
the
going
big wigs in Nollywood. He's
to
one of the oldest, like the early people who started Nollywood.
veteran. Then Wade
And you
MC
know
is
I'm
actually
coming
coming back
here.
again.
Yeah, Wed MC is coming
She's
next week
actually coming
also.
coming back next week too. Then she said she's going to give break come with a surprise friend. I don't know, so she's not telling me, but I just know she's coming with an actor and actress. So I don't know who it is, so I can't say. But I know she's coming next week, and Uncle Fred and Mata is coming next week, so they will be defending themselves. So we'll just put them on the spot next week.
Yeah, so we're excited for it because these are the people who actually do Nollywood. So it'll be interesting to hear what they've got to say.
Okay.
Man going from his car to his house for
Okay,
15
I'm just.
minutes. I've been dying to ask somebody. We'll ask him.
Okay, you can start playing, Larry. You can start playing.
So I will play. I will play a very popular hymn tune that some
Something
people believe
emotional. Yeah.
was contributed. They believe that this hymn tune was composed by a slave, but
Hmm.
unknown. Like we don't know who. Yeah. If you listen to the melody, it's basically pentatonic, which is one of the scales used in many parts of Africa tradition.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoy this.
This is amazing grace.
Definitely emotive.
I've never seen her be this sober.
Oh,
I've never seen her be
that was
this
pretty
sober
good.
ever. I've never seen her on screen.
Well,
I've
you know
never
I
seen her
love
this.
jazz. Well, Candy had to go pick up Lincoln. She's going to be with us next week. I've got to say massive thank you to Kaya Day, to Bumi, to Dr. Kunuji, I know you don't want me to say that, but I'm going to say that anyways. And to everyone who's been tuning in and listening, really, really appreciate you. And of course, I will never forget Ron, of course. Yes, I've said Bumi Tella also. Thank you very much to Bumi.
No, I
So
forgot to. Did she stay on? Is
who?
Bumi on? Bumi?
Yeah, I'm still
Well,
here.
yeah, she is. Yes.
Okay, Bumi, check the private message. I'm going to send you a message now. So, okay, keep
Okay.
talking. I'll send her the message.
See, oh, that's how they do me. Oh, they remove me in setting and do private messaging. Anyways, well, honestly, thank you so much. But please remember, this is just the first part of the discussion. Next week, we're having Fred Amata, we're having Weird MC, and we're having a surprise guest coming to talk about Nollywood versus Hollywood Part 2. So make sure that you come and join us, same time, same place, here on Tuesday, 8 p.m. GMT on the on Mongolo Croonings with Abby and friends. Thank you so much.
One
Thank
more
you,
thing.
thank
We're
you, thank
supposed.
you so much.
Wait. We forgot. Kunuji's. For those who want to follow Dr. Kunuji, his Instagram is Joe Kunuji. Just Joe Kunuji. Search for him on YouTube and you'll find him. There are
Oh, really?
a lot of his works are there. You
And we're
there, if
also going to we're putting up his details on
yeah,
our
on
show
our
so you
website
can
we'll
get
put
to
it.
see it. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can get to see him there. Oh, Auntie, where did?
Hey.
Oh, she just got.
Oh, Wait MC has actually been listening. She said, awesome. Well, we're looking forward to having you next week. So we get ready.
No,
And I hear that you're coming with a surprise guest. So I'm excited about that. But honestly, thank you so much, everyone. You're watching us because we see that you're watching. We see that you're being part of this.
yeah,
And we
We love
really
you now.
appreciate it. We are not taking you for granted in any way, shape, or form. A big thanks to the panelists. Thank you for your contribution, for your wealth of wisdom, and just pouring out so much information here. And so, of course, don't go anywhere. You stay on for the after party. But for everyone else, thank you so much for watching. Take care and
Kunuji,
God bless.
wait,
Thank
Bye.
wait,
I'm still
Kunuji
here. I'm
and
still
Bumi.
here.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Abby.